George Barris was never a subtle man. His career centered on elevating ordinary cars into rolling spectacles. Machines designed to provoke either admiration, amusement, or even disbelief. If you don't know him by name, you definitely know his work. The Batmobile, the Munster Coach, Dragula, the Beverly Hillbillies truck, and Kit from Knight Rider. He was a builder who treated cars like movie props, always chasing the next big reaction.
Really powers the car is what's going to be astonishing. As you can see and hear.
There's a website called Barris.com, and on here you'll see his gallery of builds. We have new school, TV and movie cars, customs and hot rods, and novelty and product cars. Really cool stuff, and of course I checked some out and came across the Red Demon. Interestingly, this exact car sold on Cars and Bids a little over 4 years ago for $34,500. I'm not the biggest fan of what was done visually. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, but I can appreciate his work. Also, let's be real, this was right at the tail end of the Pimp My Ride fad, SEMA and West Coast Customs. Might look cheesy from a modern set of eyes, but it perfectly captures that 2000s show car energy. Under the Customs and Hot Rod section, we'll see a vast majority of his work, and if we scroll down, we can see this Lincoln Continental Mark IV Coupe. From this exterior photo, it doesn't look super polarizing. Don't get me wrong, it looks different, but there was a lot of time and effort put into these. Yes, plural, a total of 12 were built, so this wasn't some one-off Rolls-Royce or prototype. This was a full production effort from a skilled team that actually put these things on the road. Similar to that Cadillac Twin Star that I covered a few months ago, or the AMC Cowboy, or even Ford Durango. Completely different purposes, but also similar in that there was a team and more than 5 to 10 units sold. Near the end of the video, I'll go over some other similar examples, and they are equally insane when it comes to what was done to them. As over the top as some of those Hollywood builds were, none truly reflected the pure extravagance that the early 1970s were known for. A Lincoln-based lanyard that tried to outshine Rolls-Royce, outclass Cadillac, and outchrome literally everything else on the road. The car in question is the 1972 George Barris Bugazzi, and this is one of the most fascinating cars I've ever featured on this channel. Before we talk about what made the Bugazzi the most luxurious Lincoln ever made, it's worth setting the stage with its foundation, the 1972 Lincoln Continental Mark IV. The 72 Mark IV was Lincoln's idea of a personal luxury coupe, but that term was used pretty loosely. This was a massive 5,200-pound, 19-foot slab of chrome and comfort that prioritized presence over performance. It replaced the Mark III and shared its platform with the full-size Thunderbird, big, floaty, quiet, and perfect for the kind of people who smoked cigars indoors. Visually, the 1972 model is special because it came before the bumper law. The 1973 model received new front-end sheet metal, while the 1974 moved the taillights from the bumper into the bodywork itself. The early 72, in comparison, it just looks cleaner and a bit more elegant, in my opinion. The Mark IV was this combination of size, luxury, and sheer overkill that made it the perfect canvas for George Barris. And in 1972, he decided to build something that made even this Continental look subtle. Enter the 1972 Bugazzi, the car Barris and California show cars pitched as an American Rolls-Royce. As I was getting photos and videos for the Bugazzi, it turns out that they actually made these in 73 and 74, so you might notice some slight changes between the different years. The main one that I will be going over will be the 72 in white. The idea was simple: take one of the most luxurious American coupes of the era and throw every ounce of access at it. The result was a 19-foot, 3-inch, gold-trimmed masterpiece of audacity, which is about 9 inches longer than a modern Lincoln Navigator L. Barris didn't stop there. He drenched it in 30 coats of pearl lacquer and finished it with 24-karat gold leaf hand-laid pinstriping. The number one question is, what was the price tag? And the answer is around $29,000 when new, which is more than 3 times the cost of a standard Mark IV. For a comparison, a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow in 1972 cost about $29,000 as well. If we whip out the inflation calculator, in today's money, 2025, that's around $230,000. And as mentioned earlier, they weren't one-off prototypes. These were real production customs sold through California show cars to wealthy buyers who wanted to look like they owned a hotel chain in Vegas. One of the more well-known owners was Joe Conforte, a Nevada businessman and, well, one of the first to make prostitution legal in Reno. Every inch of the Bugazzi screamed, "Look at me." From the standalone headlights and side pipes to the wire knockoff wheels and white-wall tires, it was as much sculpture as it was car. We see those massive extended front fenders, the grille was changed, a massive gold B hood ornament sat up front. It's impressive. The interior, though, was unhinged to say the least. They featured Persian rug carpeting. Watch as I scroll through some online rug store. Look at these prices, thousands of dollars, some can exceed $100,000. And if you're wondering, the stupid Persian carpeting followed its way in the trunk as well. Probably the second most noticeable feature is the Italian marble built into the dash and door panels. Of course, plush custom seating that made a living room recliner look like a folding chair. There was even a miniature Panasonic TV on a swiveling tray, a full stereo system, and a mini bar hidden inside the armrest. This car is actually getting to me. They had wall-mounted mirrors in the back seat, heavy sound insulation to make sure the outside world stayed far away, and a shit ton of chrome. Someone on Reddit said nice usage of toilet paper holders for door handles. Now I can't unsee it. Someone else commented the interior is more Home Depot than anything car related. When it comes to the mechanics, the Bugazzi didn't reinvent anything. It kept the stock 460 V8, 3-speed automatic, and rear-wheel drive setup. All the added weight from the marble, soundproofing, and extra materials probably pushed it north of 6,000 pounds. That's the equivalent to a modern Toyota Sequoia or a Chevy Suburban with 4-wheel drive. Driving one of these bad boys was like driving a boat through traffic. The steering was so light you could spin it with one finger, and the car floated so softly at highway speeds that you might forget it was moving at all. Parking is even funnier. At nearly 20 feet long, the Bugazzi is too big for normal spaces. It takes up room like it owns the property. But it's not trying to be practical, it's trying to be important. Even a Rolls-Royce or S-Class can justify its size through engineering or utility. The Bugazzi is big for the sake of being big. Visibility was absolutely terrible. The side mirrors were afterthoughts, and the rear windows were usually covered in vinyl. Of course, not everyone was impressed. When some critics got a peek inside, they pointed out that much of the Bugazzi's DNA was still pure Lincoln. Same steering wheel, same basic dash layout, just with marble glued on. Some even joked that it was a Mark IV that overdosed on disco and mink oil. But that was kind of the point. It was a theater on wheels. Barris never promised engineering perfection. He promised a show, and the Bugazzi delivered that. Around the same time, cars like the Stutz Blackhawk were catering to the same crowd, big American luxury draped in European pretension. The Stutz mixed Pontiac Grand Prix bones with hand-built Italian coachwork, sold for Rolls-Royce money, and found buyers like Elvis Presley and Sammy Davis Jr. Then there was Excalibur Automotive Corporation, which was based in Wisconsin. They built throwback roadsters inspired by the 1928 Mercedes SSK. Underneath the chrome pipes and side mount spares sat mostly Chevy Corvette hardware, but buyers loved the Gatsby-era look with modern reliability. And if you really wanted to turn some heads, you could order a Dunham Coach Corvado, essentially a customized Cadillac Eldorado re-imaged as a personal Rolls-Royce. Another example from the same coach company was the Cabalista. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but 50 of those were built, and I'll definitely explore more in a future video. It's easy to dismiss the Bugazzi as a joke, a relic of 1970s bad taste, and in a way, it absolutely is. But it's also a perfect reflection of the era. The Bugazzi wasn't built to be timeless, it was built to be noticed, and that's why it still fascinates people 50 years later. George Barris passed away in 2015, but his philosophy never did. He understood that cars could be characters, they could make statements, spark reactions, or just make people smile. Whether it's the Batmobile, the Red Demon, or a marble dash Lincoln that weighs more than some studio apartments, Barris built machines you remember, and that's all that really matters. That's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. What do we think, guys? I mean, I've never heard of anything like it. A stupid little TV on a tray, marble, Persian carpeting. Like, what were they thinking? It's just mind-blowing. I'm excited to read your reactions in the comments down below. Just like the Twin Star, you guys had some pretty funny things to say. Anyway, thank you for making it to this point of the video. And with that said, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will try and see you all next week.